Further multinational companies, they're pulling out of Russia. Coca-Cola, Pepsi, McDonald's are amongst the latest to cease operations amongst many financial institutions. We know that Russia's currency, the ruble, has absolutely crashed. Joining us briefly now is the co-founder of Declassified Australia, Antony Loewenstein. Antony, there's not much else they can do. How does Russia survive long term?
Well, ultimately, the question is whether those sanctions actually work. And the reality is that although the US decided in the last day or so to stop importing Russian oil, Russia is still dealing with major countries, India, China, Turkey. So its energy exports will continue. And the question ultimately is really, can sanctions really crush Russia? And ultimately, who actually suffers from that? It's often the Russian people more than the actual oligarchs or Putin himself.
Putin is going to be a pariah. There's no real way back for him as far as the West is concerned. Long term here, Antony, are we in a Cold War? Because Putin's going nowhere.
He's going nowhere unless there's some kind of palace coup or there's enough Russian people who oppose his rule and overthrow him. I mean, the history of sanctions overthrowing leaders is pretty minimal. In fact, the truth is a lot of the countries in the last 10, 20 years that have been sanctioned, I'm thinking here Syria, Iraq, Libya. And others, Libya, Egypt. Those regimes, the leaders are still there. Libya obviously was overthrown by...
And it hasn't worked.
It hasn't worked.
Yeah, the Arab Spring came to nothing in the end.
Yeah, Putin is undoubtedly a pariah, but a pariah to the West. And the question really is where there's going to be now a move towards kind of almost an alternative global economy where nations that don't really accept Western dictates, China is obviously the main one, and India really in some ways plays both sides of the fence. And think about how many people that on those three countries alone, that's a third of the world's population. So I think we have to really question whether sanctions are the only solution here.
Okay, Antony, I wish we had more time, but we've got this breaking news out of Queensland that I've got to get to. We'll try and get you on soon so we can chat a little bit more about that. It is interesting. It's not going anywhere. Antony, thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
As I bring